welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uzagiti Dom and that is my name, period. Welcome back to another episode of Career November. We are in the second week of Career November and I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? Yes. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed and thank you to everyone who's clicked onto this video to watch it. And if you are a returning subscribee, hello, welcome back. And if you are new here, hello, welcome. I believe this is a very fun place, an informative place. I hope you are here to stay and I hope you have a good time. Anyways, on today's episode, we will be talking about basically the question, are you ready for corporate? Yo, guys, I wonder this question, it may seem light, but it's not. But anyways, before I ramble, let me just get straight into the video. So, answering the question, are you ready for corporate? How I'm going to go about this video is I'm going to first share my experience of my transition from being a student to being a working corporate girly in tech. So it wasn't an easy one. It's still not easy, but I'm making the most of it, and I'm making the most of it, which is great because it just makes my life easier in terms of accepting my reality, to be honest. So just a brief, what is it? On the last episode of Career November, we spoke of how I landed my graduate program, and so basically we ended off with me getting the job and waiting for the contract, and I signed the contract and all was good. So I just want to make a note that I got my job with just my undergraduate degree, and you'll see why I had to point that out while I'm explaining today's topic. So anyways, beginning from where I left off, December, so I was starting work on like the 1st of January, as per my contract. And so, however, because I had to relocate from KZN to Johannesburg, the company was like, we know Namali because you're a student, so you can work from home KZN for January, but February, Sissy, it's your first salary, make a plan. So that's exactly what happened. I was working remotely for January, and most of January, it was more about training in terms of soft skills. So we would have these graduate meetings where we talk about email etiquette, we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about your why, we talk a lot of things, which when you initially look at them, you're like, but I'm emotionally intelligent. I know my why most. I'm here for the money. Sorry guys. But to be honest, as I got into the groove of being a corporate girly, I understood the importance of those topics. And so I started working from home in January, and then come February, I believe that's when I started to work. So when I got into the graduate program, I approached it with the mentality of graduate, fresh out of university, degree complete. Abange baze bathi get degree complete in record time. Abange bathi summa cum laude, yabo. Sorry guys. Sorry about that, guys. So you approach it with the mentality, I'm a graduate, I kind of have an idea, I know how to program, I know how to use Java, C#, we use Visual Studio, only to get there and to come to the realization that I don't know anything. It's not an easy realization, so how that realization came about for me was that we did the soft skills training, and then my team lead, line manager, then put me in a project as a graduate, because that was the very first project, and I thought that's how my year would be completely, that I'd just always be, you know, down there. And no, that's not how my year turned out. Anyways, so okay, we had that project, and that project we started being shown what exactly you will be doing. And guys, Yazi, my undergraduate, I think, was like 10-20% relevant, because the main thing for me was that I don't know the tools we're using. You know, there's in stand-ups they would speak of things such as Jira, Octane, Postman, APIs, what is it? You know, they would speak of all these tools that I've never heard of in my life, and all of a sudden, just because when I went to Visual Basic in in university, you think you know, and when you get there, you hear that there's so much more that you need to learn in the short space of time in order for you to be able to perform correctly. So I put so much pressure on myself, because firstly I was like, but how did I not know these things? How am I going to cope because I don't know these things? How am I going to prove myself without looking weak? How you then question yourself, you question what you know, you question your how much value you can add. That's my experience. And after some interactions with my line manager, I realized that I was imposing those things on myself and he wasn't, because he understood that he hired graduates, and he understood that you will not know, because in most cases we are not taught these things. You know, things such as tooling, I only got to know about them in my honors, and I'm doing my honors this year. And mind you, I got hired with just my undergraduate degree. So by February, I was in my second month of honors, so there wasn't really much being done, you know. So we only got to understand tooling a bit later in the year. Not understand, but get exposed to tools such as Postman, Jira, Confluence, Octane, all those things. So okay, and you know, with those soft skills they were talking about earlier in the year, that's when I realized, Uguti, these things are extremely important. So in my previous video, remember that I told you guys that I only started opening up towards the end of the year, in terms of my final year, in terms of communicating with people and getting help and asking questions. Even though I was becoming a bit open, I don't think I still had the confidence I needed to survive the beginning of my corporate career. Yeah. So again, so I then started communicating with my line manager. I would call him and say, hey, what is this? What am I supposed to do here? And that's one of the things I wanted to dive into. Uguti, reaching out to my line manager after understanding that I am a graduate. I can't compare myself to people who've been working for 10 years and beat myself up about not knowing. That's not productive to me in any way. What I can, in fact, do is I can ask. So my line manager had an open door policy, and with the project we're working on, I would ask questions. As stupid as it may seem, if I didn't know it, I would ask. And you know, it really helped. It really helped, because now I'm much more, I do believe that I'm much more informed than I was before, because I'm able to do my job. You know, I've managed to keep my job for 10 months. I think I'm doing okay. So then I started approaching team members as well, and with that I started not just focusing on my current project, but I would also reach out to my team members in what they were doing. Because I was more on manual testing. I then got to learn about automation, what automation is, and the different branches of being a QA, and just where I can go. So basically, that's the whole communication thing, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to point out in terms of being ready to move from being a student to being a corporate person, is that you really need to be able to communicate. Otherwise, you'll drown. You'll give yourself anxiety, you'll give yourself stress, you'll give yourself pressure over things that could easily be communicated. And that's what I did to myself. And when I communicated with my line manager and my team members, that's when I only started feeling like I belong. Because gradually I was picking up on things, learning things as I was asking and getting answers. So that's the first thing I just want to say, that have a look at your communication skills. Based on your interaction, you'd find that in class there were some students who were not afraid to ask lecturers question, and I was the one student who was afraid of doing that. I was shy. So coming with that into corporate, it really did affect me in my first few months of working. But now I can say I've gotten better and I know better. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing I just wanted to point out in terms of preparing yourself and corporate readiness was your mentality getting to work. Angikhulumi nge-transport, I mean your mentality in terms of, when I start working, I should see myself as someone who is coming in here to learn, not as someone who knows. I remember I went to a camp in December last year, and I then asked ladies who have worked in corporate, what advice would you give someone who's starting a new job? And I thought they were just going to talk about, the typical things like be respectful to other people. I was just always pointing out to what I'm going to be to other people. And the one thing they said that stuck with me was that in whatever happens where you work, remember that you're not there by chance. It's because you deserve to be there. And I remember those words when I started doubting myself, feeling like I'm not coping, I'm not capable, because guys, we beat ourselves up so much. So that's what I was told, Uguti, whatever happens at work, just know that you deserve to be there. You were not put there because you're a trophy. You were not put there because they made a mistake. You deserve to be in that position. You were interviewed, you got your degree, it was verified. You deserve to be there. And that was very important, because once you start doubting yourself, you then realize, Uguti, that's when you need to start affirming yourself and reminding yourself that, no, I can do this. And my mom would always say, so yeah, that's just one of the points. And the thing I wanted to talk about was, sorry guys, your emotional intelligence in the workplace. Guys, having self-control emsebenzini is important in terms of your emotions. Not everyone is going to be easy to work with. Some people will be easy to work with, some people will be not. And how you react to the people who are not so easy to work with is very important. You don't want to be stepping on people's toes. You don't want to be that annoying graduate who wants to be over the top. And I was also told, guys, I asked for a lot of advice. I was also told that you'd much rather be the quiet person who is overperforming than the loud person who is underperforming. When Anje you just yada all the time. But when it comes to actually producing results, dololo. So yeah, that's just another tip I wanted to help, as some people are preparing to tell you guys, as some people are preparing to shift from being students to corporate. Uguti, it's okay to just happy. It's okay. Like, not everyone has to see that you're here. It's okay. Let them see through your work. When you work and you produce quality, I believe that's when people actually notice you and your value within the company, not when you are always blabbering. Yeah. And then another thing I wanted to talk about in terms of my transition from being a student to working is the fact that you have to show up. It's not up for debate. It's not a thing where I can, if I feel like I want to miss class, I'm not going to attend. No, it's not it. If I feel like I'm having a very emotionally unstable day, you have to show up. I remember at some point I was so stressed and I hadn't been sleeping. But when it hits 8 o'clock, I'm at work, my laptop is open, and in a meeting, I need not to project what I had been feeling. And in varsity, it's easy. There's more room rather to not show up, because no one is gonna follow after you saying, why didn't you attend a lecture? Why didn't you do this? Because honestly, no one cares. You were fighting for your degree. Whereas here, they have clients to please. They have people they need to perform for. And if you are dragging your feet, uzosala. So that was another thing I just had to adjust to. And the waking up extremely early, and yo guys, it was not easy. As a student, I'm a 7:45. I had made peace with not attending them. Yeah, if I've had meetings early in the morning, I've had meetings late in the evening. Yeah. So just to add on to that also, what I've seen is that the first 3, or for me, the first 3 years, I believe I'm dedicating to my career. It's those 3 years of fools. I have to work hard, and then once I've accumulated all the skills, certifications, all the toolings, knowledge I need after 3 years, then I can take it easy, kancane. But I believe the first 3 years of your career is your learning phase, and you should be willing and open-minded. Don't approach it with the mentality of ukuthi sengiyasebenza and mina ngiyazi, awazi, it's okay, sonke sasingazi, nami ngangingazi, ngafika emsebenzini ngafundiswa, ngafunda futhi. And I think that's what is quite important. So I don't know, guys. I don't know how I feel about this video, but it's not really more on the technical side of things, but I do believe it's a very important thing to take note of in terms of preparing yourself mentally to shift from being a student to being in corporate, because the environment is completely different. And with it being completely different, you need to adjust to that environment, otherwise you'll be left behind. So I also just wanted to read some advice people shared with regards to this topic. So for people who are entering the workspace space. So the first one is from Ross, and Ross says the first point is that when you join a team, look at every member in the team and investigate their best and weak skills. So remember I told you guys that once I had accepted that, okay, I have quite a lot to learn, that's when I started I paying more attention to what people were doing. And if someone was specializing in something I was weak in, I'd be closer to them. I'd want to watch them do what they're doing so I can learn. So that putting yourself out there basically, and you know, not waiting on people to say, hey, let me teach you, but you taking the initiative to going and learning those things. And yeah, just being an eager beaver, something like that. And then secondly, you'll find the weak spots of the team and invest a lot of time in making sure that you own a skill. In terms of a weak spot in this team, I 100% agree with that. Remember I told you guys that once you start to find that, so for me, once I started to find that, not to find, but to understand and understand the spectrum of what a QA is and the different job roles there, I also saw that maybe there was a shortage in a QA who is knowledgeable in Salesforce, and that's where you start informing yourself, and you communicate to your line manager, look, hey, I'd like to do this certification because I can see that we might just need someone who is skilled in that. See, those are the things I believe line managers like in their employees, not someone who will just say, oh, hi, so we don't have this. Okay. No, you need to be the person to say, if you don't have it, I'm willing to do it. The next one is from a viral Batnaga. This one was a very simple one, 2 points, and he said social skills matter a lot more than you think, and then technical skills matter a lot less than you think. So I think this one was one of my favorites because like I said, when I came in, I was very shy and I didn't know anything, and I was scared to articulate that. So I tried to prove myself without knowledge. And when I started to communicate, which is a soft skill, that's when I started to learn those technical skills I needed. So in corporate, it's very important to be mindful of how you communicate, who you communicate with, how you communicate with that person. And I'm not saying use people, but when you see an opportunity to learn, grab it. And that just shows that it says a lot more about you than it says a lot more about you, and it's great that you have the technical skills, but if no one can work with you, do you think people want those kinds of people in the team? It's difficult for me to produce good results if I have someone who doesn't want to listen, who's stubborn, who's just all these just difficult to work with things. So be mindful of your soft skills, and in as much as you may have your coding and technical skills, but it's also very important to take note of your social skills at work. And just a short story about this, I recently attended a work event, and in this work event, when you communicate with your employees on a daily basis, it's all about work. What are you doing on this ticket? What happened in this ticket? Okay. But when you start to socialize with them on a less formal platform, you also pick up a lot of things. They tell you that, okay, from what I've learned, in terms of career progression, I would recommend you get the ISTQB certificate more than the Amazon one, because that's more field related, which makes you more knowledgeable in terms of your field. Yes, AWS is important, but I'd say your first priority is ISTQB. If I was not there, I would not have known that. I can rush saying, no, I need to get this certification, Gandhi. One that will open more doors for me is this one. And this came from someone who's had more years of experience than me. And then the last one is from Barbara. And Barbara says, expect to start at the bottom, or at least in the middle, in brackets. Do not expect to be the president of the company in your first job. Take whatever is offered to you and excel at that job, and you will be rewarded with advancement. You see, that's a very profound statement, because it's very, I don't know, it's just take whatever you're offered and excel. Always show your best, even if you are communicating that you're struggling, but when you show initiative, effort, and you show that I've done my best and I would appreciate your help, it goes a long way. don't say no to any reasonable request from your boss. Do not feel that any task is beneath you. That's another important one. No task is beneath you. I think that's another soft skill, leadership. I think that's one of the main qualities of leadership as well, is that as a leader, I believe you need to understand the people you're leading. You need to bring yourself to their level. And I think that's what my boss has managed to master, is that nothing, just because I'm a grad doesn't mean I'm a nobody. He treats me as a somebody, which also makes me feel valued, which also gives me some encouragement to always be at my best, because someone believes in me, you know. So long story short, get there, and nothing is beneath you. And if something is reasonable and you're asked to do it, and do it to your best. And then even with a degree, you may be asked to do things that you may think are beneath your abilities. Do it anyway. It'll show up in management that you don't feel yourself superior to others. Most people do not like that. Yeah, guys, so I know this was more of a chit-chatty kind of videos, but I do hope you picked up a thing or two about basically preparing yourself to shift into the corporate world. And I don't know, I don't mean to scare anyone, but I do believe these are nice things to know as you're about to transition into that phase of your life. And you know, when you hear things like these, you don't feel alone. You get to see that, you get to find comfort in the fact that, oh, okay, so this is what Uzagiti went through, and I'm going through a similar thing, but here she is coping, and she's managed to stay at work. So yeah, guys, so if you are starting a new graduate program next year, I do wish you all the best, and I believe you are very much capable of being there. Congratulations on getting a job, and you deserve to be there. You are not put there just for vibes. You know, someone saw something in you, and you are going to perform. And don't be shy to ask. Don't be shy to talk to people, and if you feel as though you're not getting that information from where you work, communicate with people on LinkedIn, connect with people on LinkedIn, ask them. What I did was I followed a lot of QA engineers who are senior, and I started stalking them and just seeing what's, oh, so this one has this certification, this one has this one, okay, this one has this cert, okay, so I think everyone has this one, which means it's important, you know. Like, be eager and be willing to learn. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please do stay tuned for next week's video. And yeah, guys, I episode like it was, yeah. Anyways, see you guys in my next video. Bye.